Oddball here, back out at the estate. I got a whole bunch of new die sets. I got some Lees, got some Hornaddies, got some Ricubus, and even got a few dies that were ready. And it's been very, very interesting to me. Now on these Hornaddies, I have a 380 set of these custom grade dies, but I never have reloaded with them yet. And so I was about ready to start resizing a bunch of brass with these, and then I thought, whoa, I got this. I can test out both side by side, at least with the resizing, really see what I like and what I don't, or if there's any appreciable difference. The Hornady has some features I like and some features I don't. I think the zip spindle feature right here, I don't really like it. It's got threads up and down here so that when you're depriming, you loosen this up, and you can just adjust that, and then you can tighten it and then do fine adjustments. I just assume have the smooth stem and decapping pin and rod like on the Lee, or just threaded like on the RCBS. I really don't find a whole lot of use for that zip spindle. That's just me personally. The other nice part is that decapping pin is replaceable, as well as the same on the RCBS. The main difference that I see between the RCBS and the Lee versus the Hornady is this little guy right here. This ring is coated in titanium nitride, which is a coating that's stronger than steel and brass and all that stuff. And it's supposed to have, you know, an eternal wear life, right? Especially when you're just sizing brass and such like that. Now this thing has been very, very well used. I'm sure this thing's loaded up hundreds and hundreds of rounds, and you can't really tell any appreciable wear marks on it. It's kind of a dull finish on it. That finish on the inside of the Carbide is almost a mirror finish, at least on this one. On my Lees, the finish is really good. It's just not quite as good as on the RCBS. Those are really the two main differences. Now this one's taller, so you can do the 357 max, and I don't know if you can do 357 max in this or not. I never have attempted to, or used it, or even looked into it. If you just have standard steel dies, you're gonna have to lube your cases before sizing them. And one of these days, I gotta drop off some dies up at Uncle Jim's so that he doesn't have to keep on lubing his 44 mag cases. I just gotta put these dies into the press and we'll get going. Now please note, these are from 1989. They have loaded thousands of rounds, and they are working just like they were brand new. You don't want this to touch your shell holder because that Carbide is very brittle. If you have that steel going up and hitting that, you're likely to break it. Now with the Carbide die set, you don't need to lube your cartridges. You just put in any, it doesn't matter if you're using nickel plated or if you're using brass. But this particular one is very smooth, just like I'd expect it to be. Now let's see, I got this one, it's a little bit oblong, been stepped on, but that's proving to be no problem at all. And with that mirror finish on that Carbide, that is effortless. According to the directions that come with this, you want the shell holder to touch the base of this die. Now I'll just try it with a regular piece of brass. And you don't see any galling or any scratches on there. I've got this one that's kind of oblong like the one we did with the RCBS. The RCBS handled it without any problems. Let's see how this one goes. All right, look at that. It's like it sized the brass just right. It did a good job. I have another one that got really, really smashed, all jacked up. Let's see how it does that one. Like a champ.
Not really.
What do you mean? That looks perfect.
No. If you compare the one that we just did to the one that we just did now, you can see this one's in worse shape than this.
I'm getting a glossier finish after sizing these with my Hornady than I am with that mirror polished Carbide. And I don't know if this is picking up on it, but this bottom row right here was done with the RCBS, and this top row was done by the Hornady. Visually, there is a difference. This one also is 25 to 30 years older than this. The other part that's kind of interesting is you can feel a difference. These go in almost effortlessly, ultra smooth, where this one, it's smooth enough, but you can tell and hear a difference when you're sizing these with the Hornady dies versus the Carbide dies. At least on this test, I prefer the Carbide over the titanium, even though I'm getting a little bit better finish on the outside of the cartridge. That makes no sense to me because you look at that Carbide and it is a mirror finish. I'm befuddled. Okay, we're gonna do that one more time. Is this one easier?
That's closer, but
All right, now try this one.
you're just trying to make it harder.
No, I'm not actually. Okay, try this one. Okay, which one was easier?
This one?
You really think that?
Mm-hmm.
See, I think the exact opposite. And I can hear a difference. Like when you use this one, you can hear where the other one's almost silent. But you still think that's easier?
Yeah.
All right, you heard it. Bluefish thinks the Hornady has less friction and is easier to operate than the RCBS. Ultimately, you're not going to go wrong with either one, but there are some differences. Some of the differences are materials used to size a brass, and then other differences are just superficial that are just the function of the Hornady versus the function of the RCBS. Keep your stick on the ice.